Before you start touring any properties, ask yourself these 15 questions. Buyers who do this save time, money, and a lot of stress when it comes to their first buying experience or maybe even their third or fourth time. My name's Brigid Schlegel. I'm your Austin, Texas real estate agent. I work a lot with relocation clients out to the Austin area from all around the country and even internationally. And I also specialize in new construction and sometimes even investors as well. Book a call with me down below to start your home journey, and we'll dive into what your priorities are and what strategy is going to work best for you. Pause this video anytime to write down questions and your answers. Start now. Don't say you're going to save this for later, because later will never come. Now is the best time to start taking action and ask yourself these questions, because they will help guide you to having a smoother buying experience overall. Number one, why are you moving? As in, what is the motivation behind this move? And what is your timeline? These questions I put together because they overlap. Depending on what your motivation is going to have a big impact in your timeline. If you just want to move out to Austin because you like it out here, that's great. But ultimately, you need to give yourself a deadline, because if you want to move, but you're not sure when, or you don't really have a big reason to get out here by a certain time, that's not going to help you when it comes to taking action. This actually happens a lot more often than you think. Buyers want to move sometimes because they just feel like it, not because they're actually moving for a particular reason. And if you don't really know what that reason is to move, or exactly give yourself a timeline, maybe it's just, I want to be out in Austin within 3 months. That's great. Let's make that happen. Because when you have a little bit more urgency, you're going to be more willing to sacrifice the time and effort that it takes in order to move. Because ultimately, it's just not easy to make a move. And there's financial consequences, there's sacrifices in your time and your energy. So making sure you're clear on why and giving yourself a timeline is going to be really helpful when it comes to getting yourself out there and taking action when necessary. But on top of that, oftentimes it comes down to, when does your lease end? When is school out? Is there a new baby coming? Are you relocating for a new job that's starting? Temporary housing situations. Oftentimes those timelines, maybe even it's selling your current home and closing on that before you can buy another one. All of these things impact how you act when it comes to making that next move. So make sure you write it out clearly, why and how long. Number two, what do you need to do with your current living situation in order to make this next move? Is it tell your landlord that you're moving out in 30 to 60 days? Is it listing your current house for sale? That might be the first thing that you need to tackle. Are you prepared for potentially paying, 2 mortgages for a short period of time, or your rent and your new mortgage when you move, before there's a new tenant that gets placed in your old rental? Are you prepared for those challenges? Number three, who has veto power? And this just means, who are the key decision makers and who is it that's calling most of the shots? It's okay if one person is, making most of the decisions. That's totally fine. But who is it? And make sure you guys are on the same page with that as well. Clarify who's contributing, what amount of funds, who might be co-signing for this purchase, and what are your guys' roles when it comes to, touring homes, signing contracts, and deciding which house to offer on in the first place. Question number four, if this isn't your first time buying a home, what were some great things about your previous experiences with a real estate agent or a buying selling experience, and what were some bad experiences that you've had in the past, if any, that made that experience not as enjoyable or clear as it could have been? Sharing this with your realtor will be super, super helpful to both set your expectations better from the get-go and also clarify to the realtor what type of service you're looking for. because not every buyer is the same in what they're looking for. Some people prefer more data and numbers when they're making their decision, while other people prefer extra tours and seeing the house multiple times to envision themselves and their family there. Make sure you communicate what it is that you're looking for in your real estate professional, and they'll also communicate the same in what their expectations are for you as a client. Question number 5, is this a short-term move or a long-term move? Are you going to stay here less than 2 to 3 years, or are you going to stay there longer than, say, 5 to 10 years? This is important because where you buy matters. What we're seeing here in Austin, Texas in particular is that the newer construction neighborhoods have great, amazing buyer incentives on the purchase. However, it's a lot harder for those buyers to gain or realize their appreciation amount if they sell too quickly, because these neighborhoods are being built out as huge master plan communities, and there's just going to be a consistent amount of builder competition in the market for those areas for years to come, honestly. So oftentimes buying in these newer construction areas sometimes would fit better for a longer term hold strategy rather than a shorter, live here for 1 to 2 years strategy. Number 6, have you talked to a lender before, and do you know what that monthly payment amount is that you'd be comfortable with? Now, before you tour any homes at all, you should most definitely talk to a lender and get that pre-approval, but sometimes they give you a pre-approval that's way above what you actually are comfortable with when it comes to the monthly payment. A lot of times buyers come to me saying, I don't want to be house rich and cash poor, and we can make sure that doesn't happen. Maybe it is, equivalent to your current rent amount that you're paying, or less than your current mortgage. Maybe you want to downsize, or maybe you've had a great income change and you're ready to take on a bigger purchase. Just identify that, what are your expectations, and share that with your realtor. They'll help identify if those expectations are realistic or not. Number 7, if we must trade certain priorities, which one stays? This refers to what are your community goals, right? Maybe it's hot locations, budget, commute times, specific school zones, size of your lot, different amenities, having a view, having a specific amount of parking garage and storage areas. Basically, order out these priorities. Which ones are most important to you and which ones are so important to you, but which ones would be eliminated first if something had to go. It sounds harsh, but realistically, finding the perfect home that checks every single box is near to impossible. Mostly we're looking for something that hits 80 to 90% of your priorities, and then that extra 10% you're able to add on later. Question 8, what type of property type? Are you looking for a single family home, townhome, condo, duplex, high-rise condo, land to build on, waterfront, luxury, farm and ranch, no HOAs, not within city limits? These are all different types of criteria that you should identify in advance to help cut down the amount of listings out there. As a reminder, Austin, Texas has over 14,000 listings currently, and this number seems to just be growing at times. So the more specifics you can give your realtor on what it is that you're looking for, the better off you will be starting at, and you can always add on things later to expand the search results, but you don't want to start out with too many options. Number 9, what are your deal breakers? Now, don't write a huge long list of deal breakers that is a whole page. That's not going to help you. Identify, 2 to 3 main deal breakers that you just want to avoid. This might be, living on a busy street, no flood zones, no less than 4 bedrooms. These are clear-cut deal breakers that will help you also eliminate more listings that you don't need to be looking at in the first place. Question number 10, what level of upkeep are you ready for? I'll give you a few examples. Number 1, turnkey, low maintenance. This would be like a brand new construction. Everything is fresh and you shouldn't expect any repairs really in the next 3 to 5 years unless it's minor wear and tear. Number 2, light projects. This would be resale homes, essentially. They might be fully updated, but they're still, from early 2000s, so there might be some minor fixing here and there or deferred maintenance over time, but ultimately major systems work. Number 3, project friendly. This would be, an older house that is in good shape, but in the next 3 to 5 years, you're going to be dealing with some updating of older systems, maybe permits or phased renovations to update some of the cosmetics. Number 4 would be hands-on. This would be anything that's a little bit more of a fixer-upper, essentially. We'll tackle some structural, bigger projects that need to happen before you can even move in. Every buyer's different in what they realistically are ready to tackle when it comes to the upkeep of the home, but identify where you fall within these different categories, because that will also help you identify and eliminate where to even start when you're searching for homes. Number 11, what does your ideal day look like? Does it involve taking a dip in the pool, going golfing in your neighborhood, maybe making sure that your EV car is plugged in at all times at home? Perhaps you have dogs and they need to have, somewhere to run around, or perhaps instead you want a workshop and you need to be able to be working on loud tools outside. Think about what type of a lifestyle you envision having in this next move, and that will help guide you to what areas to be looking for in the first place. Number 12, what is your communication style? Do you prefer your realtor to contact you via text, email, phone call, WhatsApp? What is that preferred method of communication, and how regular are you expecting to communicate with them? I'm super flexible, so depending on your style, I will work to always reach out to you in that preferred method. I've got clients who prefer text, email, phone call, and I will adjust for that preference. Question number 13, what are your biggest fears that keep you up at night? Now, I don't need all your trauma. I'm just saying, when it comes to this next purchase, what are the things that when you're laying in bed at night, you're still thinking about? Is it the financing? Is it envisioning the perfect home that you want to raise your family in? Is it a safety concern? Is it worrying that your realtor's going to screw you over because maybe you had a terrible experience in the past? It could be overpaying, surprise repairs, risks with the appraisal not coming through at the right number, interest rates, deadlines, whatever it may be. Communicate that to your realtor and they will help you avoid your biggest fear coming true. Question number 14, how available are you during the escrow period? So, of course, it's hard to know exactly when that escrow period will happen until you've got an offer accepted, but ultimately, do you have long work hours or, a lot of responsibilities with young kids or elderly parents? Depending on what's on your plate, it's going to really affect your availability to tackle, option periods, signing contracts, negotiations. All of those things are super important parts that need your time and attention during the offer, negotiation, and escrow period. Just make sure you communicate that to me so that I am well aware of what's on your plate outside of this transaction. Last question, do you have any travel plans coming up in the next 30 to 60 days? Because ultimately, travel can oftentimes get in the way of a closing. It happens so often that closings get interrupted by travel plans, or we just get an offer accepted and then a buyer's like, oh, well, I'm going to be out of town this next week. I'm like, this is your option period. You got to be available. Whether or not you're in town, that's fine. I will step in and I'll be here in person. But it is very challenging to renegotiate, sign amendments, and just feel clear on your purchase when you're halfway around the world. And that's fine. Go on your travels, but make sure you just prepare your agent for when those travels are so that we can work around it and make sure that nothing gets skipped. And if you happen to be out of the US or just traveling during a closing, it doesn't mean the end of the world. I've done many international closings or just out-of-state closings There's a way to work with it, but keep in mind that you do need to just notify your agent in advance so she can help you, prepare for that timeline. If you were able to answer all of these questions today, you are 80% more prepared than most buyers when they first start working with a real estate agent. Book a call with me today, share your answers to these questions with me, and I will help get you ready with the right strategy to move forward on the best timeline for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and happy house hunting.